Welcome to the Suicide Monk, and I'm your host, and my name is Britton. I just wanted to come on here and let you know that this is not a channel for advice. It is for suggestion. So the guests that I have on, they're doctors and psychiatrists and authors and people who have been through the ringer some of them are still going through it. And so it's about suggestions that and life experience that we're trying to bring to the table, plus a profound knowledge from these professionals that maybe you can take and apply to your life. But if you do need help, immediate help, please call your authorities or somebody that can help you immediately, whether that be 911 or whatever country you're in to get that immediate help for suicide. It's not the answer. I can sit here and honestly tell you that it's not the answer. So, but if you do find valuable information in this podcast and you want to support any of my guests, the authors, the foundations, the not-for-profits, please do so. If your heart is led to do that, please do so. Prayers, lifting people up, monetary is always welcome. And then if you would like to support the Suicide Monk, the podcast, I will put all the links in the bottom or in the description, and you can be led that way. So again, any prayers are lifting up, we appreciate that. Any positive comments, we also appreciate that. So thank you very much. Enjoy. I'm going to have a word from somebody that I value and cherish. She has helped me in a time of need, and her name is Scarlett. She's going to tell you about a product that she gifted me when I could not afford it. And it helped me tremendously through a lot of pain in my neck, knees, things like that I have a lot of inflammation from accidents in my past, and rolling trucks and head first into concrete walls and, stuff like that. So motorcycles, I had the full gamut of abusing my body, and this natural medicinal stuff that she gifted me has been wonderful. So I'm gonna let her tell you about that, and then we'll get on to the conversation. This has been this is gonna be a great year. So sit back and enjoy. Thanks. We'll see you on the good side.
Hi, I'm Scarlett Raven, and I am the head alchemist and founder of White Fox Medicinals, which is an all-organic, earth-based plant medicine remedy company where I make effect-based tinctures and topicals to help you feel healed, whole, and totally loved. I have stuff like the Repair Remedy Salve that will take out inflammation and pain from your muscles and your body. Other things that actually boost your spiritual inner love, like the Wild Starseed Love Cream. When you put this on, you smell intense aromas of deep Aztec chocolate, which awakens this love inside of your heart. This is edible. You can use it as a body cream. I also have a whole line of tinctures. Some of them heal the nervous system. Some of them boost your body's ability to heal itself. So whatever you're seeking for whole physical balance, that's going to incorporate your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit, then I have some beautiful healing offerings for you. So go check it out at whitefoxmedicinals.com, and I'm happy to get you all set up.
Welcome to the Suicide Monk, and my name is Britton, and today we have Dr. Robb Kelly with us. He's an addiction expert. He's got a double PhD, from my understanding. Had his own trauma in his life with addiction, and he's going to talk to us about his story, tell us what he does and his passion for helping people with addiction and severe addiction. So Dr. Robb Kelly, welcome.
Thank you, man. Great to be here. Hey, guys, great to see you.
Thanks. So tell us a little bit about your background, maybe some of your credentials at first, and then we'll go back to the before, where kind of it started for you.
So I have two PhDs, guys, psychology and behavioral science, pertaining to what we do over here. And came to America about 18 years ago. Grew up normally, went to normal school, college, and stuff like that. And then finally ended up in Texas. And then what we do today is we deal with PTSD, depression, childhood trauma, alcoholism, addiction, and anything really to do with sight. We're just in early research stages of working with onset dementia and Alzheimer's with what's called a 9D breathwork therapy software. And we're seeing some great results. So we love what we do because we do what we love.
You say that's breath work?
Yeah, it's called 9D for Delta. You can Google it, but we're the only one registered in Texas right now to do this.
Can
And
you spell that? Could you spell that for me?
yeah, it's literally just number
Oh,
nine, and
okay.
then D. That's all,
D. Oh,
9D,
okay.
and then breath work. Yeah,
Oh,
so basically what it is, you wear headphones and a eye mask, so you black out, you lie down or sit down, and basically it's a 9 dimensional journey. There are 33 different programs, and we're working really hard with the Brian Kelly, who
oh yeah.
developed this, and we're getting amazing results with it. So we're kind of, when I first started this, I would say 95% of our work was alcohol and drugs. I would say now only 5% is alcohol and drugs because what we found with our neuroscience, everything I say today, guys, is tested, trialed, researched by us. We're the only guys that are really into it this depth. But yeah, we found out that a lot of the stuff that we're healing, hypothalamus, basal ganglia, amygdala, just to mention a few, work with lots of illnesses, lots of depression, and now obviously we're working with Alzheimer's patients. So they kind of come away. We work with entrepreneurs, people who want to quadruple their income in the next year or so. We build businesses. We do everything pertaining to taking the human being up from like 40%, which most people are in the world. They walk around about 40% of capability and capacity, and then we can take them up to 100% using all sorts of tools, going back to their childhood trauma, clearing all that up and finding the person's identity, because that's really important. Most people lose their identity during the trauma,
Yep.
and they come out not knowing who they are, and especially not knowing what they can actually do in life. Because
Right.
if you ask most people, they put the brakes on the imagination. Well, I
Yep.
could be a manager of a firm. Well, how about owning a multi-million-dollar company? What about that one? Oh, I mean, stop it, guys. Stop it. I just want to say real quick, I don't want to get into politics, guys, because I'm not interested in politics whatsoever. But we're going to have a businessman, and we had a business run the country for 4 years with no political experience whatsoever. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. It's just not true. Somebody's put that there,
Mm.
and that's what we do today.
Yeah, we're our own saboteurs of these things, and I'm realizing that in my own life as I walk forward. So yeah, please continue. That's interesting.
So we're getting, like I say, we're enjoying what we do. I do a lot of TV, all the big TV shows. I came off TV about I want to say four years ago because I blew up to 355 pounds. So I've just lost 157 pounds to date. I started my journey 2 years ago.
Wow.
So we're now doing weight loss as well. It's like the journey is unstoppable. It really is. Once you know how the mind works and the brain works, central nervous system, what actually is childhood trauma, what is the conscious and subconscious brain, and what the subconscious brain is capable of doing, which is basically, in a layman's terms, wants to kill you and make it look like an accident. So
Yeah.
there's ways to embark on the conscious brain. And then three parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. So the AA thing they use 24 hours at a time, it does not mean not drinking. It means they adopted that saying. But it means that every 24 hours, different parts of the brain reset. So you have to start the morning with this routine every single day if you want to succeed in life.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's also feeds into staying present in the day as you practice those
That's the
methodologies.
key.
Yeah.
That is the key to life. When we're now, we only have now. I used to hear this years ago and think, what a bunch of crap. But we really only have this now. Forget tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't come. Forget yesterday. That's depression and anxiety for you. It's like, what can I plan today? How can I change the world today? Because if you're not changing the world, fuck are you doing, guys? That's
Yeah.
a good drink and use, or go back to being depressed. And then people go, well, I can't change the world. It's only me. Here's how you change the world, guys. Next time you're in a built up area of people, sneakers are the best. Set some guy or some girl coming towards you with nice sneakers, 2 words. Nice sneakers. They'll go, oh, thank you, man. As he walks past you, turn around and watch him. He'll look down at his sneakers at least 2 or 3 times. Now you've made his day. Now he goes home to his wife or girlfriend because he's in a good mood. Now she's in a good mood.
Right.
Then the mother-in-law calls. You've just changed 3 people's worlds right there. You don't have to create the atom. You don't have to split the atom, all these crazy. No, you comment 3 people a day, free dopamine for you, free dopamine for them. You're changing the world. I always remember someone telling me his true story. Guy goes to the Golden Gate Bridge, throws himself off, commits suicide. When the fish take him out, when the police fished him out of the water, they went back to his apartment because he had ID on it and looking for next of kin. What they found was a note on the kitchen table, and it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, throw myself off, and commit suicide, unless on the way there, which was an hour's walk, somebody says, good morning, hello, nods at me. I will stop right there, turn around, and I'll try again. So my question to everybody who's just understood that is, how many people have you passed today that's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge?
Right.
You just don't
Exactly.
know. You
Yeah.
just don't know.
You really don't. And I've learned that recently in my life that everybody has a story, and that story's not mine to judge. It's also not mine to ridicule or make it worse, per
No,
se.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, having been in the industry for over 30 years, with around 9,500 patients, 98% success rate unheard of, I know this with human beings. If you sit a human being down, a guy or girl in the therapy room, and you say to him in a quiet voice, what are you going through that nobody knows? There's not one person in all them 9,500 patients that said nothing.
Mhm.
Everybody's going, whether it be worried about money or the husband, there's something that everybody's going through. So if you can change that mindset for 20 minutes, just change the world, man. And you might have just saved a
Right.
life.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that because of the path that I was on. And it's the little things that we do that we don't understand that actually step in the way of people and their desire to take their life.
Yes.
And as I've talked to so many people, we're never very far separated from that very thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's either committed suicide, they think about suicide, they're in it actively, have never told anybody.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many aspects to this, and we
Yeah.
don't realize the impact that we can have in littlest of ways. It's
No.
as simple as how are you doing? Because
Yeah.
if they're ready to go and you know do what they're going to do, and you've just interrupted that,
Yeah.
they'll sit with you because
It's
they
that
just
self-sabotaging pathways too, that if you can
yeah.
break the cycle of that, romancing it to the end. I died twice on the streets. I tried suicide 7 times, and on 2 occasions I died on the streets. And they brought me back to life again, the EMTs, and I hated them guys for that. But looking back now, Ivan,
Yeah, you've got some pretty incredible stories behind your addiction that were pretty profound, and things again stepped in your way in different ways to prevent you from completing your desire. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Some of those
sure.
hardships that
So,
you went through in the addiction part of this?
yeah, I mean, I took my first drink at the age of 9. I come from a musical family, so I'm on stage with my auntie and uncle playing, dead nervous. Uncle comes over, drink this beer, poof, so the world just took off for me. But alcoholism took me to the depths of insanity. I got married, had first kid, second kid, lived in the big house, new Mercedes and Porsches every year, plenty in the bank. It was amazing. And then one morning, I mean, loads of stuff happened, but the worst that happened is one morning I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I need a drink. End of story. So I creeps downstairs into the kitchen and I was looking for vodka, and sure enough, there's a huge bottle of vodka, a half bottle of vodka that I took out. Now, this is the craziness, okay, of the mind. I put it on the kitchen counter for a second because I turned around to get a crystal glass because I'm not drinking from the bottle. I'm not an alcoholic. Are you kidding me? But when I turned around to grab the the glass, my wife had followed me downstairs and she snatched the bottle up the side and she said to me, I think you've had enough. Now, in hindsight, I had a meeting in 3 or 4 hours' time. It was a board meeting. I had to drive to work. Yeah, I should have said thank you, Mrs. Kelly, and gone back to bed and tried to sleep. But what I did is I took a kitchen knife out and stabbed her 3 times. When I fled to Spain, because now there's an attempted murder charge out on me, she didn't die. She recovered. She spent about a week in hospital. They dropped charges. I came home, and she was ready to go with the kids, and she left. And I'm in this big house going, you can't do this to me. So I called on my attorney and said, I don't care what you've got to do. I'll pay you X amount of dollars. Go to court first thing. You know the judge and get my kids back. And ages 1 and 3. And sure enough, the next morning, he knocks on the door and there's my little girls. I remember taking them in and putting them down in front of the TV. And then I walked into the kitchen. Now, I'm coming back from Spain. I'm like 2 or 3, 4 days sober now. But now I have a responsibility with the children, and that's okay. It's like my ego is like, you can't take my kids off it. You have no idea who I am or where I've come from and stuff like that. 2 days later, well, I walked into the kitchen and I just, out the blue, the thought pattern come, wouldn't it be great to have one drink to celebrate the kids coming home? 2 days later, I'm drunk. I'm blackout, full-blown blackout. The children had been fed or changed diapers for 2 days. The police kicked the door down. They came in. They served me with unfit father papers. Mother-in-law grabbed the 1-year-old and my wife grabbed the 3-year-old. And as they stumbled through the door, I stumbled to the front door. And, my eldest daughter is holding on to Mummy's hand as they're walking down the path. And she turned around and she said 3 things to me. She said, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. Now, I'm crying. They're crying, the kid, their mum's dad. Even the police officer was crying. And I felt hopeless and shit. She got halfway down the path and she turned around again and said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as I got to the end of the path, he opened this wrought iron gate and she turned round to me one more time and says, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And guys, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And then weeks after that, we'd lost the houses, cars. My wife had gone, my kids had gone, my parents won't speak to me, but my sister and brother disowned me, and I'm sat on the streets of Manchester going, where the hell did that go wrong? And it haunts me. It haunts me to the day I die. It'll haunt me because every Christmas and New Year and birthdays, I'd be walking around the street crying and, just, I didn't know I was an alcoholic still then. It just thought I was going through some bad stuff and it'll be okay tomorrow. And that went on and on, hence the suicide attempts. But it ripped my heart out, but it wasn't enough to stop me drinking. And that annoyed me because nobody had a solution or answer. No medical fraternity had an answer for me. This is why we delved in with our research, and I didn't see my eldest daughter for 30 years. And about 4 years ago, I was in the middle of the night, messenger pinged. And I looked at it and it says Charlie Kelly. And she says, hey, Dad. She called me Dad. I still have that text on the wall. I've just seen you on TV and, back in home, Manchester. I don't believe what they said to me. It's about time we met again and I've got a surprise for you. So I'm waking my wife up going, look, it's Charlie. I'm crying, all the mixed emotions. And we have a travel guy. Within 3 or 4 hours, we're on a plane back to Manchester. And we get there, we stay overnight in a hotel. We get there the next morning. Now, I hadn't seen this girl for 30 years. So I was just about to knock on the door and I was crying. I was nervous and all the thought patterns and just crap, Dad. And she opened the door without us knocking and we hugged and we cried. And then she got me by my hand and she led me into the living room. And she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter. And right there and then, for whatever reason, I knew I was doing the right thing, working with people and helping families. And then 2 months ago, my youngest daughter got in contact with me. So they're all back in my life. And I believe in God. I was saved, I had a huge spiritual experience on the street. Uh, but my life looking back to the homelessness and everything, I hated everybody and anybody then. That's why I hated them guys
Yeah.
bring me back to life. But when I look back at it now, pertaining to what I do for a living, that piece was like a semester at Harvard University. The knowledge either because they see me now, they see the big houses, the cars, all this stuff, and you go, well, I was homeless, doc, and I go, yeah, let me sit down. I'm sorry, doc, but what do you know about homelessness? Let me sit down and talk to you. You
Mhm.
know, well, I never lost your kid. Let me sit down and talk to you. So I've been brought all this way for a reason, and crazy things have happened on the way. I should have died so many times, but I didn't.
Right.
And that was the lowest part of my life was them children being taken off me, but it still wasn't enough to stop me drinking.
How did you not recognize that the alcohol was a big proponent of that?
Right? Isn't that well? It's the insanity, and it's a disease. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. It's a disease where the hypothalamus flips around and says, "Hey, don't drink food and water. Drink alcohol to survive." So it becomes a natural occurrence.
Mm.
That's why I can go days or weeks without food or water. But it hijacks the brain, and you don't think it's a problem. Walking around the garden in the morning at 5:30 talking to a customer drinking half a bottle of vodka was normal to me.
Wow.
Drinking throughout the day was normal. And I tell you when I found out all that stuff on the street, all the violence, because I grew up on the projects. I could fight. I was a bodybuilder, mixed martial arts stuff back in the day when it wasn't boxing, karate, judo, all that stuff. I survived on the streets. But I got to tell you something, man. Got quite comfortable there.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the only thing that was bad for me was as I dropped weight because I wasn't eating, then I became the prey, weighing
Yeah.
110 pounds instead of 250. And then I got all my face smashed in, my nose broken, all my teeth knocked out for violence. I used to bare knuckle the gypsies and the travelers for money. And yeah, it was, I mean, I'd wake up one morning, for instance, on this bench that I used to stay in the middle of Manchester. And the guy next to me had been stabbed to death for his sneakers. That's the world I was in.
Wow.
So I still suffer from huge PTSD pertaining to that. My wife goes, "Hey, don't do that. I'm always ready." I sit with my back towards the wall in restaurants. I have a firearm, sidearm next to me all the time, waiting for somebody to attack. And it's not a great way to live.
It's not. And I understand that because I grew up on the streets as well. And you, not only that, like in the home, if you have trauma there, you're always in fight or flight. And you don't really understand that about yourself. And I just realized that recently. I haven't been in fight or flight for 6 months. And then I got sideswiped by it. And I was like, oh my gosh, my body reacted. My mind went nuts. Like everything went haywire. And I was like, holy shit. Like, how I didn't even see that coming. And I didn't realize that was like a response. Like I didn't, the only thing I can tell you is when I was talking to my friend who's a psychologist, I was saying it feels like this is the closest thing like PTSD would feel like. And she's like, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So
And
how do you manage that? Because we don't deal with, I have a lot of friends who are military. They deal with a lot of PTSD. There's a lot of hardship. You take a soldier that's taken from a civilian and the traumas that they've grown up with, and then put them in military and they go through those traumas and you're on a double whammy there. So how is there something that you do on a regular basis to recognize that when you're triggered and tools in your bag to say, I know how to combat this in a better way?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a lot better than I used to be. But, when I go out, I mean, I bet you do this when you go out with the wife and everything. If a guy comes next and he's got his spare hand next to the purse or something, I'm always looking for that. And I'll always, I've defended. I just see things with,
Mm-hmm.
even as a kid on the door, 17, 18, I could tell when somebody was ready to take a strike at me.
Yeah.
And it's just that vigil all the time. I'm looking, I see things people don't see unless, guys like you that have seen it or lived on the streets, that they don't see what we see. So, I started yoga. And I have a routine every morning that quiets the subconscious, because that's where it is. The subconscious and the basal ganglia is what kicks the driver off the repeating memories. So I do a lot of breath work,
Okay.
9D breathwork therapy here, which is 9 dimensional, and meditation. They're easy things that you think you're not going to help you, helps immensely. And through my therapy, I see a therapist once a month just to talk shit now, but I used to go there real. And there's a lot of stuff in the past that I haven't fixed, because this is the problem with trauma. Alcoholics and addicts hear things different. So they're more sensitive to trauma. But I'll tell you, every single person in the world that I know of, and I know millions because of my TV stuff, I say this statement: everybody has childhood trauma, even if you don't think it is, and if you can't recall it, it's stuck in the subconscious mind. That's why you can't recall it. But what happened here is what you're doing here as a human being today. Like, you see relationships, we stay in relationships way too long. We stay in jobs way too long, even though it's painful, because of here. Somebody's put, if you don't think that you're going to create success in life, if you don't think you can achieve anything you want to achieve, I want to apologize to you, because somebody's put that there. Babies are born with two fears: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. The rest are man-made. Wait till your father gets up. It's all fear today, and anxiety and PTSD. And we were that besotted with PTSD, but I don't know how long it was, 10, 12 years ago, that we were allowed to, some friends went to Afghanistan, and we come back, we did some testing on them, and then we did 2 wives in an alcoholic marriage that was violent, and the PTSD stats were both the same for both of the people.
Oh, wow.
You think the soldier, both walking around on eggshells, both didn't know it was the last day to survive. It's just, you're getting, like you said before, you're getting that heightened state, and it sticks on that fight or flight part, because you're ready to go anytime. Whether you're a soldier or you grew up on the streets, you can't let your guard down for a second, not a second, because you'll get taken advantage of. So you've always got to be in that state. But plenty of yoga. Like I say, I do a lot of prayer, I do a lot of yoga, meditation. I've taken our house. When we first got married, me and my wife, 9 years ago, we got married, and the second day we had a little argument. And she said, that's the way marriage is. And I don't know why, but I said, says who? And we live by that rule today. So we created this sanctuary at home that you don't bring your shit home to. And anybody visiting, don't be coming in any bad moods. Even in the offices, if you come in, if you're a member of staff and you come in here and you're kind of having a bad morning, and it's hard to smile, go home. You don't get paid, but God, I'm going to send you home. So these little tricks that I've learned, and at the end of the day, it's going to be okay. That's one thing I always remember. And it has been okay. But again, switching it, there's been some times where that homelessness and PTSD has served me well. And that personality is always going to be there.
Right.
Because I may need it again. But the idea is to get rid of the noise and the internal dialogue, which keeps telling my brain I'm in danger, because I'm not in danger. You can't really see on here, but if I walk into the room, no one's messing with me.
Right.
No one's, that kind of thing. And, you do, I can tell by you're the same. If you don't know it, believe me, and you just know these guys that you won't mess with. But I still used to be suffering from so much fear. And I used to go into a room and look around and go, I wonder who likes me in here. Today, smash that door open, I walk in and go, who the hell do I like in here today? So the confidence grows. You become this person that wears stupid pink trousers and stupid glasses and, drive a stupid car I'm 63. I dress as if I'm 30. I don't care, because the first time in my life, and people say this all the time, I don't care what he says. The biggest lie in the world is sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's the biggest lie. So I literally, as of about 3 years ago, stopped giving a shit what you think about me. I don't. I've done it all. I've got it. I lived in that space where everybody wanted to drag me down. Yeah. And I was an English guy, come over here. It's going on Oprah. Who do you think he is? He's an arsehole. It's like, guys, I've done it. I don't care what you think of me. I really don't. and the weight lift off my shoulders, and that PTSD went almost to nothing, because of that, because I literally don't, I mean, hey, I signed an office deal in Dallas about 3 years ago for $1 million, over 20 years, whatever. And my friends are like, "Man, are you insane? What is wrong with you? How do you sleep at night with that much debt?" My answer is this: I died twice on the streets in Manchester. The fuck are they going to do to me that I haven't done to myself? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And that's how I live today.
And what can anybody take from you that you haven't already taken from yourself?
Correct. It's
Uh,
nothing.
right. And that's the thing about being able to start over is you've already destroyed everything. Nobody had to take anything from you.
Correct.
The most you could take from me today is my life because I
Yeah.
know what it is to have nothing.
Yeah.
So I also know what it is to rise out of that.
Yes.
And that's what makes it, it's not that it's maybe not a don't care. It's that it's not as important. Your opinion is not as important about me as my opinion about
Now,
me.
and do you know what I've found over the years is nobody will ever criticize you, either online or in person, that's doing as good as you or better. So I teach my patients to look at the source. Oh, so
Yes.
this guy says you can't do it. You're a waste of time and overweight. This guy, the guy that lives with his mother at the age of 35 and works at a dead end job for you're taking advice off this guy.
Right.
You're insane,
Yeah.
and my patients go, yeah, why am I doing that? Because the self-sabotaging trauma wants you to go down there. Because
Yeah.
somebody like dad has said to you, I told you you never amount to anything. They dropped out of school, and that sits in the subconscious brain, and it'll stay there till the day you die if you don't get rid of it.
Yeah. So in addiction, you've been sober how long now?
I never give him a sobriety set, and I'll tell you why. My
Okay.
sponsor back in Manchester was 29 years sober. He took me back to his apartment to do some step work. He put sleeping tablets in my drink and raped me. I woke up naked the next day. So I always say to people, you should know by looking and listening to me that I've got it going on. So
Mhm.
I would rather have a month of good than 25 years of miserable. So it's been
Yeah.
as he says, it's been a few days, wink, wink.
Um, and yeah. Okay. So let me phrase the question this way. You haven't had a drink for a long time. When there's this thing that happens, and you'll see it a lot in AA, is things are going good. And so we get misconceived by our thoughts and think that we're okay again. And so they start drinking and there's a relapse that happens. And then, it's a snowball and you can't figure out what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're full blown back into the old lifestyle again. How do you combat those things? How are you aware? Because you kind of have to be hyper aware of the things that would push you in that direction and the things that you don't know that would push you in that direction.
Knowledge is power
Mm.
in any industry, and this industry, alcoholism, is exactly the same. So the guilty part of the brain is called the basal ganglia. Now, this is what happens with alcoholics that's born with the predisposition and the three parts of the brain that differ. The basal ganglia, if you can imagine a clock face, if a pilot wants to fly a commercial jet, it needs 10,000 hours in the air. When you're driving a car for the first time, it's awkward, you're nervous. After a few months, you reverse down the driveway, you're waving at your wife, you're talking to your friend, and you're listening. You don't have to think about it. But what happens, we believe with our research, is this. Imagine a clock face. So 12 o'clock, I relapse. 10 after, I'm in hospital. 20 after, I get sober. Half past, the wife come back. 22, I get that job. And at 10 to the hour, I self-sabotage. And nobody can give you a reason why. Well, the reason why is one, because the basal ganglia is at default with alcoholics. And two, you're not cleared your trauma up. You're not. So we don't believe in triggers. We believe in memory recalls. So
I
all
like
that
that.
bad stuff is sat in the subconscious brain, and it's billions of thought patterns sat there. And what happens is the prefrontal cortex, its job is to come up with a solution in milliseconds. But what it does, it asks the brain, hey, what do we do? What do we do here? Most thought patterns of people with childhood trauma and PTSD go straight to the subconscious brain where all that crap is. The idea is to clear that up. Don't come from the subconscious brain. I'll show you how shortly, but come from the conscious brain. We have 7.3 seconds before the neural pathways, there are billions, But let's talk about alcoholism. The neural pathways come to a junction when you have that, do I want to drink? You have 7.36 seconds before you romance the idea, it's all over. Or you take and break the cycle, which we have methods for, so you go down that route. See, and the more times you go around the healthy, see, alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism. It's got nothing to do with alcohol.
Right.
So as we go down the right road, it's a bit like two freeways. One's bad, one good. If you keep traveling around the good, then the bad will get moss on it, get bricks thrown on it, and becomes untravelable. So we need to redirect and repattern the neural pathways away from that self-sabotaging thought patterns, which is always to relapse. But unfortunately, like I said, it's in the subconscious. So what we found is a week before you pick up the drink, that's where your relapse is. Your behavior changes, your attitude, bang, we catch it there. Because by the time you get to the drink, there's no stop. I would kill.
Right.
If I walked into a bar when I was drinking and somebody said, there is a huge glass of whiskey and there is a gun. If you drink that, you've got to use that. I take that all day long. I'll take that. I give it me. Let me drink first. No problems. Because the hypothalamus is telling me to drink to survive. And it's crazy, but this is new neuroscience that people don't know. If we went on the streets now in San Antonio and we asked 20 people, what is an alcoholic? Most people are going to say it's someone who drinks too much alcohol. That's not the case. You tend to DUIs do not make an alcoholic. Doctor warns you, you drink every day, it does not make you an alcoholic. It's that chemical reaction when the alcohol comes in and the ethanol gets attached that I either die first. They call it the mental obsession, but what it really is, it's memory recall with the prefrontal cortex is what it is. And once you've romanced, you're done. So you have to catch it before. It's like when you're getting well from PTSD and you see something, a week before you go off the rails. If you see something, we have to address that there. But if we haven't cleared the past trauma and childhood trauma up, then you're not going to realize that, and it's going to go straight back to them days and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm experiencing in my own life right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you know of me, but I was walking towards my death. The podcast became a byproduct of that, trying to help save somebody else's life while I'm going to take mine, and so now I'm on the other side of that, where all those lies that built the walls around my story and that narrative, those lies around that narrative are crumbled now. And now I have an opportunity to look at life in a different way and deal with it differently than I ever have before. So, and this is exactly where I'm at. I'm like, there's this thing that's happening naturally to propel me forward and perpetuate that neuroplasticity in my brain to continue to happen. And now that I've experienced for lack of better terms, the good life, a different perspective, a new perspective, that's what I'm running for that constantly now. It's like the drug and that methodical dance with suicide has now become that methodical dance with life that I've never danced before. So it's very, very interesting to step back and watch myself go through this and then listen to you speak. And I hear other people going through this very same thing, and we're getting there in different ways. So there's something that's happening in the spirit for me that has changed my perspective on the gift of this life.
And can that's you what you need. You can't, if I've been through what I've been through, I can't help alcoholics, addicts, depressed people, PTSD. I can't help. This is the only industry where you have to go through it yourself before you can treat other people. You go to school as long as you want. I've got 9 years of schooling behind me. That's 1% of maybe what I do. You see, you have to identify and go through it, because if you don't know the mindset of what you're dealing with, you'd never know what they're capable of doing. And it was like me with alcohol. I would kill you I've stabbed my wife 3 times one night. You think I'm not going to kill you if you try and stop me drinking? Now, that's insane, but the normal people who's not been through this, but got 10 years of education in college around alcoholism, they can't help you. I truly believe that we have a niche in life. And when we find that niche, it comes from hardness. It comes from hard times. Nobody has ever really succeeded in the comfort zone, but we stay in relationships. We stay in jobs. We don't want to move forward. There's a great story I tell of a 16-year-old schoolgirl that was snatched off the side of the streets back in Manchester in the late 60s. There was a huge manhunt for her. And this depicts what we do today in life. Huge manhunt, no good. 9 months later, a police car is following another car down a country road, and he has one of his back lights is smashed. So he pulls him over, and the trick back then, without all the communications, is, what have you got in the trunk? And so I've got a yellow jacket, pair of boots. He opened it, yellow jacket, pair, yeah, sure, car. So they asked this guy, he's being cagey, but when they looked, there was a stolen screwdriver. That's all it was. Price tag on, no receipt. So now they're allowed to go back to the house and look, and sure enough, stolen drills, lawnmowers. From all this DIY, he stole like thousands of pounds of stuff. As they're looking around, they see this box in the corner. It's like 4 foot high by about 12 foot wide. And they say, well, you've got more stolen stuff in this big padlock on it. And he denies anything of it, don't know anything about that. And they smashed the lock of it. And there's the girl that went missing 9 months ago. Now, she was bruised and battered, but she was still alive. He used to take her out every day, beat her, rape her, feed her, rest her, bath, and then back in again every single day for 9 months. So when the policewoman leant over the box and she took this young girl's hand and she helped her step out the box, she took her police coat off and she wrapped it around the girl. What's the first thing the girl did? She got back in the box. And that's what we do in life.
Yeah.
You have to smash that box, man. The box is your trauma, your childhood trauma. The people around you, what people told you, learned behavior, enmeshment, all that stuff we travel through. You've got to get rid of that. Otherwise, you'll step back into that comfort zone, even if it's painful. Because we do research in everything we talk about and think. We did research on two really attractive girls. Like that stupid scale. They were a 10, man. Every single day. We found out that they'd not dated for 2 years and 4 years. And they're like, we don't know why we've not dated. We've tried. Here's the reason what we found. Guys will not go up to them because they're scared of being rejected. Mm-hmm. So they'd rather not go up.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's probably human beings. When you walk over and take it, quantum physics backs me up. If you want something, you walk over and you take it. You don't beg for it, crawl for it, and you walk over and you take that position that you want. Life becomes amazing. And then you reach more people to help them with the stuff that you've been through. And God, Uncle Jimmy, universe, whatever you want to call it, will tenfold you back every single time. Yeah. Every time, man. And that's what life is about. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. My day will come tonight at 8 p.m. My assistant will send it over. Here's your day tomorrow. Because I live in now, I live in today, and it's the only thing we've got, guys. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. So what can we do today to make this world better and be as happy as possible? See, there's 4 chemicals in the brain that need to happen every day to be happy. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. That is it. So you've got to have them. There's ways of getting that. But serotonin and endorphins are created in the gut. So if you're not eating correctly, 90% of food we eat is rancid. If you pick anything up and the first ingredient is canola oil, throw it away. It's rancid. So here becomes the problem of a human being. The food industry gets us sick. The pharmaceutical keeps us sick. So everyone thinks you can pass heart disease, for instance, down to your son. So my dad gets heart disease. I get heart disease. I got it from my dad. It's biologically impossible, first of all. But what seems to happen is my dad has a staple diet with mom, has done for years. And let's say he can't methylate onions, just for instance. When he can't methylate onions, he doesn't know it. But if you can't methylate, it becomes a deficiency in the body. When there becomes a deficiency in the body, either a protein or a food you can't methylate, there becomes an illness. So because I'm on the staple diet with dad and because I've got his genes, I count method like onions, but I don't put it together. So all of a sudden, deficiency, heart problems, for instance. And I think, and the doctor wants to be putting me on medication saying it's hereditary, you got it from your dad. It's not true. It's not true, guys. And we've been doctrined into thinking certain ways about life, and this is good for you and that's good for you. And it's not true. You've got to be careful. Most of our vitamins have got cyanide in them. All the food's got rancid oils in them. Guys, you need 4 oils. While we're on this subject, real quick: coconut, olive, avocado. That's it. The 3 oils and a grass-fed butter or ghee. That's all you need. But you can go in the supermarket tomorrow, guys. There's a well-known health bar there, and it says on the front 9 grams of protein and 0 fat. And as layman, you go, oh, we're going to get some of that for the family. You know, we love training. You turn the package round. It had 27 ingredients in it. What is all that about? And
Right.
there's sugar in there that doesn't class itself as sugar. When McDonald's fries in England has 3 ingredients in it: salt, water,
Right.
potatoes. And
Yeah.
America has 27 ingredients. You've got to
Mm.
start questioning what you're eating, man, because
Especially in
you get
America.
sick. Then
Yeah.
like I say to people, have you ever been to the doctor with an illness or ailment? He's giving you a pill, you've taken the pill or a series of pills, it's cured you, and you never have to take pills again. The answer is no, never.
Never.
Never have you done that.
Yeah. I got a ride with, I think I was being towed not long ago, and I got a ride with a guy who had just had a liver transplant, and he was on like 30 different medications to, is that right? If you get that kind of a transplant,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because of the immune system
yeah,
will reject
definitely.
that. I
Yeah,
thought that was I was like, was it worth it for him? He's like, yeah, I think so. It's like, I take a lot of pills and I don't feel good very often, but
no. Everything you take has a side effect.
yeah.
And you'll see you've got like say a depression medication. That's all right. That treats at least 20 different illnesses. What's that all about?
Yeah.
Most of them are psych meds. Most of them are uh, controlling fitting and stuff like that. They don't care, man. There was at one time in Texas, you could not cash a prescription for Adderall because they'd run
Hmm.
out of everything.
Yeah.
And people, so you go to get depressed, right? You go to the doctor because that's the normal thing to do, what normal people do. And he tells us that, you're depressed, we'll give you some depression medication, and in a couple of weeks you'll be fine. What he doesn't tell you is the definition of depression in the American medical dictionary is lack of serotonin. So he provides you with a boost of serotonin with pills that you got to take the rest of your life. So I have this false serotonin now
Hmm.
that I'm taking, so my own serotonin gets depleted. Now I'm stuck on that for the rest of my life to feel a little bit better. Well, why
Yeah.
isn't anybody asking the question before we go to the doctor why my serotonin is low in the first place? Boom.
Right.
It's crazy
Yeah.
because the sickness from food, pharmaceutical. The first thing, I don't like politics. I don't get into politics, but the health minister Kennedy, Lex taking over. Gary Brecker's working. Me and Gary Brecker share patients. He's going to ban pharmaceutical advertising from day one, and he's going after the food industry. He's going after the McDonald's there. He's going after Chick-fil-A's and all that stuff. It's like if you go to the Cheesecake Factory and get the one called cheesecake, that they do. It's a white cheesecake. There's 47 spoonfuls of sugar in that,
Oh,
and then
wow.
people wonder Alzheimer's and things diabetes free. They wonder why they get diabetes three
Yeah.
or one and two. They go, well, my diet was pretty good, and you're eating all this crap, and so many chemicals. Half of them are sugar, but they don't say the sugar. They come up with these fancy words, and we're killing ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm diabetic. I've been diabetic since I was 29. Um, got it really, really late in life, and type 1, and
Yeah,
nobody in my family, it's not hereditary. I mean, I'm the only
yeah,
one. It's got to be a food or infection that killed the pancreas for me. So
yes,
it
exactly.
yeah. Um, the so So you're not as involved in the addiction recovery anymore. You're more into it sounds like more the mental health and discovering the
Yes,
possibility of who you're capable of being. And I think
yes,
that's the key that I've found as I really discovered the true nature of who I am.
yeah,
And do I act out based on some things that have happened in my past? Is that my response to this life and this learned behaviors? For sure, that's part of being in this life.
yeah,
That's where I've just started to give myself grace that as I recognize these things, they're old behaviors, but now that I can recognize them, give myself grace instead of beating myself up,
yes,
I can actually move forward and allow that neuroplasticity in the brain to happen. We
yeah,
don't really understand neuroplasticity, but it comes from language that we speak to ourselves, and then how we take care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, nutritionally. There's a whole thing of it's not just one thing that changes that.
yeah.
Do you want
It's
to talk to
really,
me about that?
yeah.
How that has?
I mean, it's really important that we know. So, going to the wellness and neuroplasticity, the NLP, the internal dialogue, is very important. Let's take the presence of oxygen equals the lack of disease. When there's oxygen present, no diseases can grow. Every cancer's growth, liver, whatever, grow in a hypoxic area. So what happens over the years is we don't get enough oxygen, number one. We don't change and we don't recircuit the brain every morning, number two. But it's the internal dialogue. Like I
Hmm.
drop a pen on the floor. Oh, what an idiot. What's
Yeah,
that? Boom. Right there. You got to
yeah.
stop that shit. Because I'll
Stop
tell
it.
you something, if one of your friends dropped it on the floor, you won't go, you stupid idiot. You'll do it because you won't want to upset him. Well, how
Right.
about not want to upset yourself?
Yeah.
Because internal dialogue becomes internal belief, and
Yeah.
internal belief becomes internal actions, and as an outside response. So you've always got to be reminding yourself how good you are. Only hang around the people that validate you or approve you on a daily basis. Oh, that's ego. Shut up. When you've been
Yeah.
through what we've been through, no such thing as fucking ego. What are you talking about? Shut up. It's the guys that say that often, especially in 12-step meetings. What's your ego? It's like, really? You want to go down that route?
Yeah.
My ego got stricter than some of my fucking kids on me. Don't even say that to them. But we build this confidence, man. And for me, it's walking with God and doing God's work. And, I'm always hanging around. I was in Dallas for 14 years and I kept saying to my friend, I'm thinking of writing a book. I'll write a book. I'll be silly, you're not an author and blah, blah. I never wrote a book, man. Came to San Antonio 4 years ago. And I said to my guys about 2 years ago, I'm thinking of writing a book. Well, the response was like, what? You've not even wrote, but are you crazy? You've got to have a book. What's wrong with you? I was like, yeah, I'd read it. Yeah. So I wrote a book. So the internal dialogue and people around us is very important. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If I hang around 9 depressed people, I will automatically become the 10th. So be careful about your inner circle. If you've got one or three friends in your inner circle, there's two there waiting to fail.
Yeah.
Let people in. You've got to share it. You've got to get validated every day and approved every day. Not crazily, over the top, but you've got to know you're doing the right thing because nobody tells each other today. I'm in the Dallas office a couple of years ago, and this guy came in, new nurse started with the older nurse, and she's on reception. This guy came in, he was suicidal, man. He was just like miserable, he's crying, just wanted to die. He comes in me hour, comes out high-fiving the nurses, he's skipping, he's laughing. And the young nurse said, oh my God, did you see what Dr. Kelly just did in there? And the other nurse says, I know, right? She said, he is absolutely amazing. So the other nurse says, I know, right? Have you told him? Oh, he already knows. Nobody knows, guys. Nobody knows. Don't think someone knows that they're good. Don't think someone knows they're attractive, intelligent, your best friend. Don't think you can't thank somebody every day face to face. That's where life comes from because we get
Hmm.
in this rut, and we stay in it and nobody tells us because you think we're really good and we think nobody knows how good they are. We're 25% more attractive than you think you are. You're about 15 to 18% more intelligent than you think you are. We have this thing that we do in the morning, do some mirror work, and it's important you do it from 6 feet away because that's how people see you. But when we go close to the mirror or shaving, we see all our blemishes. Well, that's not how people see us. When's the last time you went in the office? Hey, Jimmy, good. We don't do that. It's all when you stand 6 feet away, your blemishes go. You have to believe that you're that confident, you are that successful, you are that handsome, pretty, beautiful, to go through life, because that will spread, man. So if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't say how good you are and doesn't even validate you, you'll start to believe you crap because nobody cares. It's not
Yeah.
the truth, man. And that's the
Yeah.
internal dialogue attached to the subconscious brain that wants to kill us.
So there's this kind of process I'm working on right now, and it's kind of a 3-step process of realization, and that is the first step is realization. The second step is belief, and then the third step is knowing. So it'd be, realizing that I'm capable, believing that I'm capable, and then knowing that I'm capable. So that process, or that knowing, enables you to, people again, going back to the ego, people would say, oh, that's egotistical. No, it's not. It's believing in the true nature of who you are
Yes.
and wanting to give that away to other people. And I also heard this quote the other day, our gifts are not our own,
Yeah.
which is a great quote, because the gifts, we tend to get selfish with them,
Yeah.
and they do a disservice to
Yeah.
us. Instead
Yeah.
of, if we give them away, the blessings and the rewards, just the outpouring of that generosity, of that gift that you give away, just gives
Yeah.
back to you in so many ways. You get to actually learn from your own gift,
Yeah.
which is incredible. If you're, that's the difference between humility and ego.
Yeah.
Humility says, I get to learn from
Yeah.
this very thing that I get to give away.
Yeah.
Ego says, well, that's mine.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
I love that. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Once you find your identity and your niche in life, look, you've got to stop following the herd. You've got to stop believing that this is your lot in life. If you go to work every day, you hate the boss and you hate going to work on a Monday morning, get another job. If you go out to the wife or partner every night and you're walking on the eggshells, and get another wife. But it's not that easy. It really is that easy. Stop this shit. You ain't got. Everyone thinks they got time. You ain't got time. Hey, mums, 1 minute I'm waving them off to kindergarten. The next, you ain't got time. Date that girl, buy that house, drive that car, go start that business. I had a guy I was working with some years ago, and he hated his job. But it's the only job he could get. Jobs were scarce, so he liked to make socks. Okay, bear with me. He liked to knit socks. That was his deal for babies and stuff. So I said, okay, get yourself a website, $5 off GoDaddy, get yourself business cards, $10 off Vistaprint, and then make one pair of socks a month. If you sell one pair of socks a month, it's awesome. That guy now runs the biggest sock company in the world on one pair of socks for babies, knitted. He knitted them himself. And he was embarrassed that because he's a man, he knitted. And we told him, that's your niche. Why are you not doing that? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I can't make any. No, you can make as much money as you want. If you have belief and realize who you are, nobody can touch you. No one's going to put you down. He's doing as good as you are. So you're going to get haters. If you don't, you're not doing it right. You've got to have
Thank you. I
haters
appreciate
out
it.
there, you know?
I need that
Yeah,
reminder.
I know, right? It's crazy. It's like, hey, listen, I had 4 haters at one time, and 2 of them now work for me. I'll say
Oh,
no more
wow.
about that. Yeah. So it's bullshit what you hear. Drive,
Yeah.
listen to the internal dialogue and listen to the gut feeling.
Yeah.
We somatic experience tells us that the gut feeling is real, man. It goes back to the tribal days. When one of them get a gut feeling that something was wrong and they either wait to fight or they'd run. It's a true deal. Listen to your gut
Mhm.
feeling if you're going to make it. It's always right. But then the
Yeah.
intelligence, I can't really, I can't imagine me earning that much. I can't imagine. No, you can't.
Yeah.
So if you think you're going to be successful, you will. And if you think you're not going to be successful, you will.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then what is the measure of success? I mean, is that money, or is that what you bring to the table for other people? Is that,
I always thought it was money. I chased
yeah.
and chased and chased
Mhm.
until about 5 years ago. I'd say to my wife, we just have 100 grand in the bank when I first came over here. Got it. It's just 500,000. Got it. Just a million or 10 million. Got it. Nothing. It was nothing. So when I look back now in a real best state of my life, health and body and mind, my biggest, most successful, rewarding, most expensive thing in my life is getting my 2 girls back. That's what I call success,
Yeah.
Stop concentrating. The money's coming if you do the right thing. And The right
There,
thing is
right
learning,
there. Yeah.
going through it, giving it back, compliment 3 people every day,
Yeah.
and really being out there. There are people that sit at the back of the elevator. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who walks in and asks everybody, "Hey, how's your day going?" And they're looking in different directions, embarrassed. I'm like, "Come on, guys, let's go." You've got to. I walk in a room and I like the room. Or why wouldn't I not do that after the past? I get 2 lives in one lifetime. The first one I messed up. I ain't gonna mess the second one up. I can see what life
Right.
is now. I can see.
Yeah.
And you've got to
Yeah.
live life to the full, because I love this saying. So I'm at a crossroads in my life. Good. Now you can forget the shit in the back, and now you can take a different road to success. Good. I'm glad
Yeah.
you are. I'm not too sure what I'm doing. I'm like, good. It's about
Yeah.
time. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's map it out, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And 9.5 times, 9.9 times, it's going to be true. We've got backed up with this with quantum physics. So we're neuroscientists more than anything else. Quantum physics says, for instance, let's talk basketball court. So I don't know how many play. I've never played basketball, but let's say there are 5 players on each side. I don't know. There's 10 people on the basketball court. Okay, visualize 10 Robs on the basketball court. Have you done that? Yeah, I got it. Now, where would you want to be? Because you're 10 places right now. Yeah, I can see 10 places. Where you want to be? Well, I've never played basketball, but I'm not stupid. I want to be near the goal. So I get the ball, I put it in the net, and woof, I'm the hero of the game. And he said to me, okay, how are you going to get there? Oh, and he leaned into me and he said, "You walk over and you take that fucking position, Rob. You don't crawl for it. You don't beg. You walk." And that has seen me right all of my life. Because you're never ready to do stuff. Well, I was going to start
Yeah.
a podcast. You was going to? Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll probably do it. You'll probably? Where's the
Mhm.
7.3 second rule? If I'm sat tonight with a big bag of chips, I don't drink Coke, but let's say it's a big Coke. And I turn around to my wife and I go, I see some fitness guy on the TV. Hey, listen, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. She knows I'm not going to the gym tomorrow. I know she knows, the dogs know, and even the cat's like, really? You're not going to go to the gym tomorrow. But within 7.3 seconds, if I get up, walk to the bedroom, get my sneakers and my training stuff, and I put that back near the door or in my car, it's a good chance of me going to the gym. So
Mhm.
don't put anything off. We haven't got the people we interviewed on death's door, which were family and friends. We're allowed to go and ask a couple of questions. And the primary question was, what did you regret most? And the answer was almost the same with everybody. I thought I had more time. You don't, man. This is a one shot thing. And if you don't live the best you, go drink, man. And
Yeah.
people think I'm harsh when I say that. If you're not
No.
helping somebody,
Yeah.
if you've got alcoholism and everybody can recover, everybody can recover. Well, there's no cure for alcoholism. There's no cure for the common cold or food poisoning, idiot. But listen, there's a way of arresting it and going out there and living a great life. And that's what it's about. If you don't follow that through and give back, go drink, man. You're wasting your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So how do you bring people now, even since you've kind of moved away from the addiction part of it? Because I realized I was in AA for 17 years or 14 years plus, did a few out on my own and realized that alcohol wasn't my problem. I was 18 years old when I got sober. I was my problem. My trauma was my problem. The alcohol was just trying to shut it up and keep me from facing it. I didn't know how to face that throughout the years, but um, but you've kind of moved into this. If you discover who you are, you can conquer anything. How do
Yeah.
you take people, because we all deal with addiction of some sort, is my
Everybody has an
experience.
addiction. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you take people that are struggling, we'll say mental health, and help them realize the very nature of who they are? Because a lot of people just can't see. They look for help. Look. I've been doing it for 44 years. I couldn't find out who I was until those walls got broken down through a psilocybin treatment. I couldn't, like, how do you take people from where they're at right now to, because it's really a self-discovery of, I do believe that I am this now. How do you do that with them?
A lot of it is subliminal work, NLP, 9D breath work, stuff like that to bring them to the realization. As soon as you get out of the car in our car park outside, let's say a guy comes, his name's John. Okay, he booked through, he signed up for 90 days. He's got his first time at 9 o'clock and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. We will research him like crazy. So remember, it's repatterning and worth. And let's say it's the Dallas Cowboys. We will place the Dallas Cowboys cup on its side on the pavement as if someone discarded it with the Dallas Cowboys on it. He'll come in, we'll have a picture hanging of the Dallas Cowboys. When he comes into the office, there'll be a Dallas Cowboys small little teddy bear in the corner. Now, he's not directly seeing this, but when he comes in and sits in front of me, he feels really comfortable because he's seen three things that are familiar that he loves, but he's seen it on a side eye over here. He's not taking notice of it. So automatically, all offenses comes down. Now he's familiar like an old friend, and then you can start going to work with the subliminal work and then the other tools that we have. Then we spend time with them, write down 5 things every day that you have to complete, period. If you do 4, we're going to drop you. And then we start, the other staff will have things to say to him. Like, we can't tell lies. It has to be true. So we find out his wife's just gone on a diet. He's lost about 2 pounds. So one of the girls will say, hey, man, you're looking good. Have you lost a few pounds? So it's all subliminal work. And he goes, yeah. So now he knows and thinks that, hey, look, she's noticed that. That's a win, man. When you do your 5 things every day and they start off easy, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 2 other things, when the brain starts achieving in the head, you start believing who you are. And when we repetition strengthen and confirm that message, you start believing. If I told you a lie now, you might believe it, you might not. If I told you a lie real often enough, you're going to start to believe it. Well, guess what? If I told you a lie real often enough, I'm going to start to believe it because the brain does know the difference between truth and false. Right. The brain does not know the difference. So what you create, if you can program the mind first thing in the morning, is that what we teach people? Then the brain follows. Hence the saying, mind over matter. So the mind, first thing in the morning, gets trained to run the brain. We get rid of the subconscious brain because the subconscious mind works in a hypoxic area because of this, sleep pattern. Chinny houses probably 3 and 5 with a normal circadian sleep pattern. The oxygen is very low. It's the reason why nobody's woke up laughing. When you laugh, the oxygen's in, so you don't laugh. So we repair that. We get the oxygen in. We do a couple of rerouting in the morning. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, we do a week left, week right, week left, week right. And then we're in the mirror saying, I love you, 6 feet. It's all training that brain. So 300 neural pathways die every single day in the brain. What are you replacing them with? Are you replacing them with the same old shit that's been round and round your brain, basal ganglia, and stuck in the subconscious brain of the past? Go drink. You've got to be learning new stuff. And we set tasks for them and they achieve the tasks. And, if someone wants to start a business, well, we, at my own pocket, we're building a website, and now he's got some worth about himself. And somebody will come from the office and go, hey, listen, I missed you today, man. You came in at 10. I didn't start till 12, man. I missed you. All this stuff that's brainwashing him to believing that he's a lot more valuable and has a lot more worth than he thinks he does. Once we're on that track, the rest is real easy. The rest is easy to convince someone that they can do anything they want in life, especially 2024. And that treatment carries on for 90 days until all the brain's been reset, all the chemicals are now balanced, the central nervous system is good, the childhood trauma has been kicked off, and he's doing some amazing things. So we have a 98% success rate. The next is 9.
Do you try to take them off of big pharma meds in the process of that? Or
what we do, I'm not a medical doctor, but I know about pharmaceutical drugs. Okay. So here's what we do. We go, hey, what you want, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Halfway through, we have never said, halfway through the journey, they go, listen, I want to come off them meds I'm taking. So they come off. If somebody comes to us on Suboxone, for instance, we like Suboxone as a taper. If you're on Suboxone more than a month, guess what? You're not clean. You think the brain knows the difference between pharmaceutical drugs and street drugs?
No.
So it's a taper. But most people, they start to increase their own dopamine and their own serotonin. And because people come in, like this will put somebody off medication. They come in and go, hey, doc, how long have you got medication? Yeah, I've been on this medication for 10 years. And you're still miserable? Yeah. When did you think it was going to kick in? You've been taking it for 10 freaking years. When do you think? And you go, oh, wow. Come on, guys. So we will go to any length to get you well. I personally see 4 patients every 3 months. That is it. Because then 4 patients and my guys are usually the movie stars and pop stars and everything. Then we have 25% of our company's pro bono, so,
Okay.
and everybody's got a
That's
carry
awesome.
pro bono. And me and my wife, we just started the Robb Kelly Foundation 2 months ago. But for the last 9 years, me and my wife put back into the community out of our bank $150,000 every year to help people. So when
Wow.
patients are coming in and they're seeing this and they're seeing your excitement every day, and it's very contagious when you're coming in. I'm not like any other doctor or psychologist. I'm in your face. I'm going to jump on you and hug you. We call the wife, what's his favorite music? Or his music is, he loves Black Sabbath. We'll have Black Sabbath playing in the background. All of a sudden, he enters into this space where he thinks is important, where he thinks it, and he starts believing it can do stuff. That's how we do it.
Some people might look at that and say, well, that's manipulation, but the other side is that indoctrinated process that they went through in the first place is the negative side of that.
Yeah.
And that's why
Most
they
people,
believe what they believe.
yeah,
And so let's not get confused, people, with like
yeah.
this indoctrination process is about helping people realize the true nature of who they are
100%,
and
100%.
believing in themselves.
Yeah,
So,
but you have to pass an assessment to come into here.
hmm,
Every person has. So if you don't pass the assessment, if we don't find out what you're about, and you can get through this with the thinking that we want you to, we will not take you on.
that's
We've
fair.
turned down pop stars, movie stars for millions over the 12
And
months, and we're not going to do it.
it's really, that means you're not compromising for money. You want people that are ready to proceed with learning how to live life.
That you
And
just knocked it on the head. That's the key. If you do this for money, man, go home. You just like you go to me and you go to a treatment center right now. Any treatment, apart from about 5 that we love, any treatment center, walk to the door, give them a checkbook, say I want to check in. You're in.
yeah,
Okay, you're in. Well, you can't do that. You can't buy our services. Now, because
right.
of word gets around and the TV, I do work with A-list celebrities. I concentrate on them. And the rest of my staff, like me, working class people who can't afford it, we never send anybody away. We work aggressive. Everybody in my company has to carry a pro bono patient. Otherwise, you're not going to any more work from us. I'm not giving you patients. So it's that happy
Man, I love
balance.
that.
But it's just
I
a
love
belief.
that. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not about that makes it really more about giving back and on an individual basis because there's reward in that. And when you're doing something pro bono or you're intentionally involving yourself in somebody's life that is hurting. I
yeah.
love that. That's awesome.
We bought
And it's
people cars in the past to get to work and buy. We put a rent down on an apartment. So this guy who's going to get his kids back, going to court, get his kids back 2 days a week, man. He gets his apartment. He's all, he can't afford it. So we rent his apartment for 12 months. And then we buy him a little car. And then we buy him a suit to turn up. And we make sure he gets there looking really, really good. And he gets his kids back. We pay for all that. This is the only time I think I've mentioned this on any show. And I do thousands of these. Uh, but that's what it's about, man. Now, 5 years down the line, when you see him somewhere and he's got his grown kids with him and he's doing good, he's got a girlfriend, he's married again, that right there is me paid in full. I don't get
yeah,
involved in money, man. No,
yeah,
that's paid. When somebody recognizes you, hey, Rob, do you recognize me? I go, no. 10 years ago in an AA meeting, you promised you'd get me well and you picked me up off my mum's couch because the hospital has sent me up to die. Remember that, Rob? And this girl said, you saved my life, Rob, and in front of all these people. I was crying, man. That is my payback. That is my
yeah.
salary.
Well, and I believe that is the definition of success.
Yes.
And there's a lot of times that we don't get to see that,
Yeah.
but putting forth that effort in people's lives creates opportunity for them. And that's really the point of this is there's a place for you to unload this horrific thing in your life so you can see straight for a moment.
Yeah.
And maybe that moment will perpetuate you in a different direction. And that's what we're so blinded by the walls that we've built over our life to protect us from the things that are coming at us from every different direction. And that's what you're kind of talking about with that, that fight or flight and being on the street. And you don't have to live in that anymore. And I've been all over this country and I've been a lot of places in the world, and I have never needed to protect myself. and I've been in some wild ass places.
Yeah.
It's about my presence and what I bring,
Yes.
And how I remove or move through that. It's when I bring fear to it, that fear is, it's like being around a horse. The predator can sense it, and you just became prey.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to write that down. Give me a second. I love that. Absolutely love that. There's, especially this time of year, you get people saying, "No, I've got to go to the mother-in-law's for dinner." And my reply is, "You get to go to your mother-in-law's. You get to take the kids to school. You get to do the washing. What's wrong with you? You get to do this stuff,
Yeah.
Like, geez, you should have died 1,000 times and you're moaning about picking up the washing from the. Really? We get to do this shit, guys. Every single day we get to do this. I woke up a dry bed this morning. My bed used to be a little chair, a little bench with everyone. I used to pee there, I used to eat there. That was my life. That was my home, man. People spit on me as they're walking past me. How can I have a bad day, man? And it's all from giving back. That's all. I mean, the rest will. I can't even. We could sit here till next
I
year,
know.
24/7, and people at home will still not believe us.
I know it.
Correct this and give back all of the time. Doesn't have to be money. My valuable time is my time, not money. I'll earn more money, no problem. It's my time with people. But every morning on TikTok, I'm spending an hour with people that are struggling, and I give back. Every month, I hold a meeting. We fly people in if they can't afford it, and we give back and we feed. I have a restaurant next door, a British restaurant next door to my office. I own that restaurant, and we'll bring them in and feed them. We often put notes out on Facebook. If you're a vet or you're a guy that you can't really afford to eat and come to the restaurant, I want to pay for that meal. If you're a mom, I've just done it now. We've got 35 presents, gifts for young kids. And over the weekend, I'm going to dress as Santa Claus and I'm going to be giving the presents out. It's that extra thing that gives me joy, man. The look on people's faces, they just can't believe that this doctor does that. They post on all the time. Oh my God, Dr. Kelly came up to the table and spent time with me. Really?
Right.
Who would, I don't get it. Who wouldn't do that in this position? So time and effort and smiling and helping people and validating them and approving them is, especially people that's been molested, they've never been approved that happened. They're not being validated that happened. When you validate it in front of somebody, it's the world changes for them. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Man, thanks so much, Rob. I really appreciate you being here. Any closing suggestions, advice, anything you want to leave us with that is on your heart?
Sure. I'll leave you with two things, guys. First of all, if you're going through anything, okay, then you start to isolate. Dialogue to another human being is the key. Start dialogue. Don't be embarrassed. Don't do anything. You can do anything you want to do. You've got to believe that. No. Secondly, the last thing my daughter said to me before she came back in my life was, Daddy, please stop drinking. I just told you before. So that's me wasted, drugs and alcohol, couldn't even see properly. And that's my daughter when I got a visit back to them. She was about 4 or 5 there. Okay, this is on Amazon. Please don't buy it on Amazon. Come find me and say, I saw you on the Suicide Monk show. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign it for you. I'm going to pay the shipping. I'm going to send you this free of charge just for this show. Because I have been on, I want to tell you, man, thousands and thousands. I'm on Joe Rogan in January. Thousands and thousands of these things. And I have to tell you categorically right now, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to say while we're recording, is you are probably the best podcaster I've ever had the privilege to be on. And I'll tell you why. You have the experience. You have that look. I'm not taking any shit of anybody, which I identify anyway. But your questions and your calmness about how you ask them questions, which were tough questions for me, and the engagement and the understanding and the love I feel already puts you probably the best I've ever been interviewed. And I know you may not believe that. So first of all,
thank you.
I want to validate you, man, because this podcasting life, it can become lonely, So I want to thank you for saving millions of people's lives with the ripple effect that we have, man. It takes a special kind of person to stand up after what you and me have gone through and make use of that badness, that sadness, that make use of it in the form of life. So I want to thank you so much, man. I can't. Me and you're going to be
thank you so much.
It's just amazing. Thank you for doing this, man.
Yeah, and is there anything I can do to help support what you're doing? Because I've enjoyed this conversation, but I love what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because I
Just
think
being
that's the core of
human,
it.
talking to me. Let's swap phone numbers after, and
Yeah,
we can we'll keep in touch. And the
yeah, for
things you say,
sure.
if ever we can help or anything like that, yeah, you'll be on my top of my list. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this. It's been
Oh
amazing.
man, that's a huge compliment. I really, really appreciate that. They don't happen very often in life at all.
Let me
So
say something really brave. You have changed my life today.
wow, as
Because of
you have
the way
mine.
you
Thank
are
you.
and the way you talk and the questions when I was talking about my kids, the loving face that you was looking at me, you wasn't judging or you was actually in this journey with me, man. So yeah, it's true, man.
Well, Dr. Robb Kelly, thank you for being on the Suicide Monk, man.
Thank you,
This
man.
has been such a pleasure. Well, thank you for joining us today in this conversation. And next, we're going to have a word from Scarlet Raven from White Fox Medicinals. Thanks. And we'll see you on the good side.
Hi, I'm Scarlet Raven, and I am the head alchemist and founder of White Fox Medicinals, which is an all-organic, earth-based plant medicine remedy company where I make effect-based tinctures and topicals to help you feel healed, whole, and totally loved. I have stuff like the Repair Remedy Salve that will take out inflammation and pain from your muscles and your body. Other things that actually boost your spiritual inner love, like the Wild Starseed Love Cream. When you put this on, you smell intense aromas of deep Aztec chocolate, which awakens this love inside of your heart. This is edible. You can use it as a body cream. I also have a whole line of tinctures. Some of them heal the nervous system. Some of them boost your body's ability to heal itself. So whatever you're seeking for whole physical balance, that's going to incorporate your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit, then I have some beautiful healing offerings for you. So go check it out at whitefoxmedicinals.com, and I'm happy to get you all set up.